Everybody loves good performance. I think we could pretty much all agree on that. When you're spending money on a scent and it performs really good, that's a bonus. And in this day and age, that's kind of something that you just come to expect. You know, the prices of scents are increasing year over year. And so when you're spending that much money, you kind of just hope and expect it to perform good. Unfortunately, that's not always the case, but there are a lot of beast mode scents out there. But where the problem becomes is when you start getting into some of these really strong scents, sometimes you start crossing over into the realm of less versatile. And then it becomes a battle of trying to decide when you can actually wear that scent. You know, if you're someone who works an indoor job where you're kind of close to people often and, you know, it's a little bit more of a tight environment, you might not want something that's going to be so outlandish that it's going to just completely ruin people's day and annoy them. And then you're going to become that guy. Of course, everybody is in a different situation. You might work by yourself. You might work outdoors. And so in those environments, you're kind of not held to the same type of standards in that regard. And so what I wanted to do today was compile a list of some beast mode scents that are still actually versatile. You know, even though these are strong, the scent DNAs themselves are still super friendly and easygoing to where you're not going to completely disgust people. You know, there are some scents out there like Mancera Red Tobacco, just as an example. And I love red tobacco, but it's so strong that some people might just be off-put by it. You know, it's powerhouse performance mixed with an oody tobacco. It's spicy and sharp and strong, and it's something that not everybody's going to really like. We're kind of going in the opposite direction of something like that for this video. So if you want performance, but you still want to be able to wear it every day, wear it to school, wear it to work, to whatever, these are going to be what you want to look into. I'll link them down below, but I want to get things kicked off here with Dior Homme Sport 2021. This is a great release, and it's one of those deals where, you know, you look at it and it's a sport scent, and typically, you know, you might immediately think, oh, it's a sport flanker. It's just going to be a little bit more fresh and kind of boring. And to be fair, that's not a, you know, an outrageous thought to have, because that's oftentimes what kind of happens with sport flankers, right? They just freshen the DNA up and then call it good, and then it ends up being something a little bit less interesting. But I find that not to be the case with this one especially. This is the current latest installment within the Dior Homme Sport line. There have been, 3 or 4 before this one. I think 3, 2008, 2012, 2017. So yeah, 3 of them before this, all of which were good, but I find this one actually to be the most adventurous to date. So this one has a lot of elemi, grapefruit, kind of a lemony, zesty smell, some like pink pepper or spicy touches. Very, very woody and traditional and masculine smelling. And again, this is miles different from the other offerings before this, so this one stands out a lot. And not only does it stand out from the Dior Homme Sports, but it stands out among a lot of other designer releases as well. I find this one to actually be pretty interesting. You know, it's something where when you apply this one, you spray it, you smell it, it's like, wow, you know what? This is actually something that's fun to dive into. You know, you smell that opening and you're curious how it's going to transition into the mid and then finally the dry down. Like, this is something that actually keeps you hooked throughout the wearing process. And you can't say that often about a lot of scents in general, but especially, you know, scents marketed as a sportier, fresher scent. I actually think with this one, the name Sport and the fact that they put this in the Sport line is actually a little bit misleading. You know, it's fresh, don't get me wrong, but it's not in the traditional sense. So something to look out for yourself. You know, don't think this is going to be a 90-degree, you know, summer banger like Dior Homme Cologne. It's not that fresh, but it is a nice woody kind of aromatic scent that does have a masculine feel versus something that's overly sweet. It's got great performance, great delivery on this one, something that works really well and holds up great in a professional environment. Next up, we have Ralph's Club Elixir. So, you know, the Ralph's Club line is kind of one of those deals where, you know, not everybody's going to be super excited about them. But I will give credit where credit's due. This new Elixir is fantastic. To be fair, the Parfum was great, and I even like the original, which is an EDP. They actually started off with an EDP, which I thought was a cool touch. But this one here is probably their best work yet, if I do say. You know, it's got olibanum, iris, some lavender, some leather in here as well. This is good. Really good stuff. It's going to be, again, a little bit more interesting and dense and heavy and rich compared to the other two. And it's been a progression, right? The EDP started off as the freshest. The Parfum built on that a little bit, and this one took it to probably the highest extreme that we're going to get within this line. It's not too leathery that it's going to be off-putting and animalic. It's not too lavender focused to where it's nothing but, you know, aromatics and kind of soapiness. It's not too focused on the olibanum where it's kind of sweet and smoky. There is a very, very well-maintained balance throughout the entirety of this scent, start to finish, that I think is pretty admirable. Again, going back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the video, it's got great performance, but there is not a situation that you couldn't wear this one to. So, because it's an Elixir, it's a little bit more expensive compared to the others, but it's going to make up for that in the fact that you can just use this stuff anytime you want. Next up, we have Versace Dylan Blue. You know, this was a no-brainer for me, one of the first ones that came to mind when, you know, planning this one. It's a $45 to $50 scent for the 100 milliliter bottles. These 200s aren't a ton more, and it works out to be a good deal if you are going to wear it a lot. But this one has C notes, patchouli, incense, some bergamot off the top, and if I didn't say ambergris or ambroxan, a lot of that too. So no surprise here, and this is one that doesn't need to be explained, but it's a blue fragrance. What is a blue fragrance? Anything with a ton of ambroxan, essentially. So think Sauvage, think Aqua Atlantique, you know, Bleu de Chanel, all of that stuff. What I like about this one in particular is the incense and C notes and patchouli, giving it a considerable amount of sweetness. It's much sweeter than Sauvage by a long shot. It's way sweeter than Bleu de Chanel. I would say this is honestly, at least off the top of my head right now, the sweetest blue scent out there. And even though it does have that going on, you're still getting some lavender in here, or still getting some aromatics, some citrus off the top. It's still fresh also. It's a balance, but I find this one to be more of a balance compared to Sauvage, where, you know, it's pretty much all pepper and ambroxan and lavender off the top into the dry down. I'm not picking on Sauvage. I like that one a lot as well, but Dylan Blue also has a lot of utility to it. This is also coming in at about half the price of Sauvage and Bleu de Chanel, right? And all of these other blue scents, a lot of them anyways. So it works out to be a great purchase, whether you're on a budget or not. Even if you have money to spend, I still recommend Dylan Blue. I think it's great. That one also, no surprise, has great performance as well, above average in that price range. Again, we're talking $50. Generally, it's very much hit or miss in that price range. You got to be careful. If you're being very selective and you want performance, make sure you do some digging, because a lot of the stuff in that price range might just be 5-6 hour performers, right? Dylan Blue is 10 plus, so definitely a winner there. Now let's kind of walk over into Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisé. Now this one has iris, of course, has some chocolatey cacao in here, got some sandalwood and some cedar wood. So you'll find this one, again, to be a little bit more balanced out, where Gentleman EDP is pretty much just sweet all the way through. A lot of vanilla, a lot of iris, and black pepper. The sandalwood, the cedar wood here is giving it just a little bit of, no surprise, kind of a woody balance. Also a chocolatey feel, which kind of, ties in that sweetness, fresh and sweet. And you also don't really get any chocolatey accords in the EDP or the new EDP Reserve Privé. So there's an extra layer of creaminess to this one that the others lack. For the most part, the Gentleman lineup itself is versatile across the board. I mean, even the EDP is as well. However, I think this one does kind of take home, the prize on that one. This and the EDT Intense are very wearable. It just depends on which one you want. The EDT Intense is going to lean fresher than this. This one leans sweeter, but it's not as sweet as the others. So it's kind of just like, where do you want to be? Do you want to have just a little bit of extra sweetness? Go for this. If you want to stick primarily on the fresher side, go for EDT Intense. Between those two, I think the Eau de Parfum Boisé is the more interesting and pleasing scent, you know, just from a fragrance enthusiast standpoint. So it's kind of why I chose this one. Next up, let's go with Prada L'Homme Intense. You guys know the original Prada L'Homme as being a super wearable, soapy clean, citrusy, musky, floral scent for men, right? It's great for work, great for school. I mean, great for anything. And it's, you know, one that I also really enjoy. However, if I can, you know, have it my way, I'm going the Intense pretty much every time. I wear the Intense considerably more. Very rarely do I wear the original. That doesn't mean that it's bad. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to recommend it anymore or that I don't recommend it anymore, because I think for people with either limited collections or maybe it's just something you really love, it's a great way to go. For me, I have the luxury of being able to choose, you know, from a wide variety of things. And being that I have all of the Prada L'Hommes, my personal favorite is the Intense. It's more interesting to me. It has more going on. The leather in here, the tonka bean, it really adds just some more character to the DNA. Again, adds a bit of a sweetness, and it's all about that balance. Fresh and sweet makes some of the most versatile, mass-pleasing scents. That mixture just works, no matter how it's achieved through whatever combination of notes. When you have a little bit of both, you have the best of both worlds. And so that's what they've done here with Prada L'Homme Intense. So that's why I like it. It has great performance. Another thing, this performs better than the EDT, and it's not necessarily a surprise. So for me, this one takes the cake. Can't go wrong either way, but this is my preference. Next up, we actually have a Chanel. You know, you might not necessarily consider Chanel as a brand that produces beast mode men's scents, right? Unfortunately, Chanel comes with a premium and you can't get them on discounters. So, you know, the Bleu de Chanels, the Allure Hommes and all of that, they all perform okay. None of them are really beast mode. I would say Bleu de Chanel Parfum is probably the best performing of that lot, you know, and it's not necessarily by a huge margin either. However, this one actually does surprisingly well. Has ever since I got it. I've got old bottles, I have new bottles like this, and they all work very well. Chanel Platinum Egoiste. It's an aromatic fougere, but with a modern twist. That is the one and only way it should be described. It truly is remarkable, and this is also not new. I don't know, what's the release on this one? Let me know down below. Going on 20 years old now, maybe? Or is that pushing it? I don't know. But it's one of those scents where it has that older school feel, but then it has a modern, refreshed smell. And even though this was released years ago, it still smells like they could have put this out last year. Like, I don't know what they did and how they did it, but this is truly probably the best recreation of an aromatic fougere for the modern times. So no, this doesn't smell like your grandpa, you know, or like your dad, or like an old guy like you might think when you smell YSL Rive Gauche or Roja Scandal, or, you know, insert whatever your favorite aromatic fougere barbershop is, right? All of those kind of have that personality going on, but this one doesn't. It more so smells like a premium men's body wash, almost like something you would smell at a high-end hotel. Not that I've ever experienced that, because I haven't been at any high-end hotels, but it's one of those things where it smells premium, it smells expensive, and that's in typical Chanel fashion. They're good at that. So yeah, I like Platinum Egoiste a lot. I get great performance out of it. You can wear this for anything that you can possibly think of. I mean, you can't go wrong with it. Also, compared to the other Chanels, this one's reasonable. It's just a hair over $100 at retail. That's not bad. The Bleu de Chanels are up into the, you know, mid to upper 100s. The Allure Hommes are probably, I guess, around the same as this. I don't know for sure, but it's not bad at all. But if you are on a budget and you've got, you know, $30 laying around, you can grab Ferragamo F Black. No reason not to have this one around. It got hyped up a while ago, and I think at this point it's been long forgotten about, or at least its time in terms of interest has considerably dropped. You just don't hear this one brought up anymore. I still like to bring it up when I can because I still really like it a lot. A lot of black pepper in here, a lot of lavender. This is no joke. It is spicy and aromatic, and that's it. It is crisp, it's peppery, it wakes you up, it's head turning. This is something where when you walk down the street wearing this stuff, it's going to get people's attention, for better or for worse. And I would definitely say for better. You know, it's a $30 Ferragamo scent. They engineered this one to just smell good to people with a little head turning effect, and they definitely did that really well. And also at this price point, you can't beat the level of performance that this one gives off. I mean, it really is pretty impressive. It definitely gives other scents in the $50 range a run for their money. So I think that is pretty special about this one. I think it's best suited for fall and winter time, at least for me. Like, it cuts through the cold air really well, and we live somewhere where it does get cold. You know, it's not uncommon to see into the negatives Fahrenheit for wind chill, and, you know, just real temperature into the single digits sometimes. And this is the type of thing that still slices through that frigid cold air. So that's pretty impressive. You got to respect it. We'll end this one with a niche scent here. It is Parfams De Marley Sedley. This is one of my favorite fresh ones from them. It's another one that does good performance for me. A lot of ambroxan, citrus, a lot of musk in here as well. Some mint, geranium, kind of green notes. Clean, crisp, refreshing, uplifting, bright, easygoing, very mass pleasing, and again, kind of the theme of the video to go along with that, you know, versatility and the performance is the fact that, again, you can just wear it for anything possible. You know, in a perfect world, this is best suited for summertime, probably spring and summer. But again, fall and winter time, if you felt like wearing it, there's no reason you couldn't. You could easily make this your signature scent if you know, wanted to, you know, spend the money and wear this every day. More power to you, and it would serve you very well. Again, definitely wanted to check out the deal with this, though, and other Parfums De Marley's is don't buy them at retail, in my opinion. Don't do it. Wait until they come on discounters for around $180 for that 4.2 ounce full presentation. That is about the floor for that one. And I would say the ceiling, about the maximum I would pay for these is, you know, 200 tops. Any more than that, you're just getting closer to retail and further away from where you should be paying. So in my opinion, the $180 to $200 range is where you should be, and that's it. And if you want to be notified when stuff like that and other rare, discontinued, and hard-to-find fragrances like La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique and Armani Code Absolu come into stock, if you sign up to my mailing list and texting list at the link and number down below, you will get first dibs and be the first to be notified when stuff like that pops up. Again, anything rare that you can possibly think of. I don't care what it is. I promise you, I'm looking for it. I search the discounters front to back every single day, and so I'm always trying to bring you the best prices, the rarest finds, all of that stuff. Sign up down below. You won't regret it. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.